You're standing on a frozen plain 25,000 years ago. The wind hits your face at 40 below. Your breath freezes before it leaves your lungs. There are no trees, no shelter, no food in sight. The ground is solid ice beneath your feet, and that ice goes down 2 miles. You're wearing animal hide stitched together with bone needles. You have a stone knife at your hip and 3 days of meat in a leather pouch. You're hungry, you're cold, and the sun is setting. This was the world for nearly the entire span of human existence. For 100,000 years, Earth was locked in a deep freeze that buried Canada, northern Europe, and much of Asia under glaciers thousands of feet thick. Temperatures dropped 10 to 15 degrees globally. Sea levels fell 400 feet. Entire ecosystems collapsed. And the humans alive at the time, our direct ancestors, faced conditions that would kill 99% of people alive today within a single week. But they survived. Not all of them. Most died. But enough lived to become us. So how did a tropical primate with no fur, no claws, no fat reserves, and a body engineered for African heat survive 100,000 years of winter? Let's start with how close we came to not surviving at all. In 2008, geneticist Lynn George at the University of Utah studied human mitochondrial DNA from populations across the world. He found something unexpected. Around 70,000 years ago, the entire human population on Earth collapsed to between 3,000 and 10,000 breeding adults. That's it. That's the entire species. A single bad storm, a single disease outbreak, and you wouldn't exist. Nobody would. The cause was likely the Toba supervolcano eruption in Indonesia, the largest eruption in 25 million years. It threw enough ash into the atmosphere to block sunlight for years. Temperatures dropped further. Plants died. Animals died. And humans, already struggling inside an ice age, came within a few thousand individuals of extinction. For comparison, there are more gorillas alive today than there were humans 70,000 years ago. We were not the dominant species. We were not even close. We were a rare, fragile group of mammals clinging to the edges of a frozen world that did not want us there. And the Ice Age wasn't a single event. It was a series of glacial periods spanning 2.4 million years, the most recent stretching from about 115,000 years ago to roughly 11,700 years ago. That window contains the entire arc in which modern humans evolved, migrated, and nearly died. Every cave painting, every stone tool, every burial ritual archaeologists have ever recovered happened inside this freezing world. So what kept them alive? It started with something we still take for granted today. In Wonderwerk Cave, South Africa, researchers found evidence of controlled fire dating back over 1 million years. By the height of the Ice Age, humans weren't just using fire, they were mastering it. Hearths excavated at Dolní Věstonice in the Czech Republic, dated to 27,000 years ago, show fires lined with stones to retain heat through entire nights of sub-zero darkness. Some sites contain the world's oldest ceramic objects, kilns baked at over 700 degrees Celsius, built by people who had no metal, no wheels, and no written language. But fire alone wasn't enough. You can't carry a fire while migrating. You can't sleep under a fire when wind is tearing through your camp at 30 miles an hour. So humans invented something no other species had ever attempted: clothing. In 2011, researchers studying human body lice traced their genetic split from head lice to roughly 170,000 years ago. Body lice can only live in clothing. That single date marks the moment our ancestors began wearing fitted garments. Not just hides draped over shoulders, actual tailored clothing, stitched together with bone needles. The oldest known sewing needle, found in Denisova Cave in Siberia in 2016, is 50,000 years old. Eyed, polished, capable of stitching layered fur into insulated coats that could keep a human alive at -30 degrees. That sliver of bone with a hole in it may be the most important survival invention in human history. Without it, no migration north, no crossing into Europe, no survival of the last glacial maximum 20,000 years ago, when ice reached as far south as modern-day New York. With it, humans could finally go where no primate had ever gone. Then came the next problem. What do you eat when the plants are dead? For most of human evolution, our ancestors got the majority of their calories from gathered plants. Fruits, roots, tubers, nuts. The Ice Age made this nearly impossible across most of the inhabited world. So humans did something biologically reckless. They became hypercarnivores. Isotope studies of Neanderthal bones and early modern human remains from this period show diets composed of up to 80% animal protein. Reindeer, mammoth, bison, horse, hare. Whatever could be hunted was hunted. And the fatter the animal, the better. Fat was everything. In sub-zero temperatures, the human body burns calories at twice the normal rate. A single Ice Age hunter needed up to 5,000 calories a day just to stay alive. Lean meat alone causes a condition called protein poisoning, where your liver shuts down trying to process pure muscle. So humans hunted for fat with a precision that bordered on obsession. Bone marrow was extracted from every joint. Brains were eaten, tongues, organs, eyeballs. Nothing was wasted. At the site of Linford in England, archaeologists found mammoth bones from 60,000 years ago that had been split open with stone tools, specifically to access the marrow inside. Every part of every animal was a calorie that meant another day alive. And humans got smarter about storing it. Pits dug into permafrost became natural freezers. Meat was smoked over fires. Fat was rendered into portable cakes that could last months. The human stomach became a furnace, and the human mind became the engineer that kept it lit. But no individual survived the Ice Age, not one. At the Sungir burial site in Russia, archaeologists uncovered the graves of 2 children from 34,000 years ago. They were buried with over 13,000 ivory beads, fox-tooth pendants, and ivory spears that took an estimated 10,000 hours of skilled labor to produce. That is decades of work by trained craftspeople. For 2 children. This tells us something profound. These weren't isolated bands of starving survivors. These were organized communities with specialists, with traditions, with the ability to dedicate massive resources to single individuals. Survival in the Ice Age required cooperation on a scale that no other animal had ever achieved on Earth. Hunting a mammoth wasn't a solo task. It took 10 to 15 people working together with spears, fire, and steep terrain. Building a winter shelter from mammoth bones, like those discovered at Mezhyrich in Ukraine, required the bones of nearly 100 mammoths and the coordinated labor of an entire village. And processing a single bison hide for clothing took weeks of work from multiple people. The Ice Age didn't just select for strong individuals. It selected for groups that could plan, share, teach, and remember. Language exploded in complexity during this period. Religion, art, music, ritual. They all show up around the same time. Because in a frozen world, your culture was your survival kit. Forget how to make a needle and your children freeze. Forget where the herds migrate and your village starves. Forget who you owe a favor to and the next time you're hungry, no one feeds you. This is when humans stopped being just animals. We became something else. Then, around 11,700 years ago, the ice began to retreat. Sea levels rose. Forests returned. Mammoths died out.